FBI Director James Comey has announced that the reopened investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server is now essentially closed and no charges will be recommended against her. In just a few minutes, Newt Gingrich, Kellyanne Conway, Rudy Giuliani will all join us. Also tonight, Donald Trump is about to hold a rally in the all-important swing state of Pennsylvania. We're going to take you there live when he steps up to the podium. But I want to start tonight. Get out your pen and paper. There's a lot of information you're going to want to remember and tell your friends. Now, first, let's start with the FBI Director Comey. He informed Congress just 10 days ago that the Bureau was reopening the probe into Hillary Clinton's server after, get this, 650,000 emails were found on the laptop that was shared by top Clinton aide Uma and Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, let's put this into perspective. The first time the FBI looked into Clinton's server, it took them almost a year to go through 30 to 32,000 emails. And now, somehow, they were able to analyze 650,000 emails in only 10 days. Now, any logical person can see that simply does not make sense. What about the fact that Comey's own agents say there's a 99% chance that up to 5 foreign intelligence agencies hacked the server and stole the emails? In other words, national security secrets. What about the fact that Clinton's team, remember, they used BleachBit to permanently delete 33,000 emails after Clinton was served a subpoena to preserve them? Are we really supposed to believe that all of those thousands of deleted emails were really about yoga, a wedding, a funeral? Oh, and by the way, emailing with Bill Clinton, who doesn't email? Well, what about the fact that WikiLeaks shows that the Clintons' own staff, they said they didn't think she turned over all work-related emails? What about that? What about the New York Post reporting that Clinton had her housemaid, well, obviously doesn't have a security clearance, she printed out classified documents? And why didn't Comey mention anything about the ongoing year-long investigation into this pay-to-play scandal at the Clinton Foundation? How dumb does he think we are? Now, as an American, you should be outraged tonight. James Comey, frankly, should be ashamed of himself. I know a lot of rank-and-file FBI agents are. Now, here's why. Let's start with Hillary Clinton. Now, she has changed her story on her server countless times. Hillary, in her own words.
The laws and regulations in effect when I was Secretary of State allowed me to use my email for work. That is undisputed. It clearly wasn't the best choice. And I take responsibility for that decision. I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of 2.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Okay, in full disclosure,
BlackBerry.
and a BlackBerry. I believe I have met all of my responsibilities, and the server will remain private. In order to be as cooperative as possible, we have turned over the server. They can do whatever they want to with the server. I am confident that I never sent nor received any information that was classified at the time it was sent and received. So that leaves the 100 out of 30,000 emails that Director Comey testified contain classified information. I did not receive anything that was marked as classified. Director Comey said that only 3 out of 30,000 had anything resembling classified markers.
You were the official in charge. Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something? No. Well, no. We turned over everything that was work-related. Every single thing.
Just like she lied about Benghazi, she lied and lied and lied again and again about the email server. And by the way, it wasn't clean with a cloth. No, it was cleaned with BleachBit. Pretty much acid wash, so God himself couldn't recover them. Now, Hillary Clinton has tried to convince everyone she didn't break the law. But back in July, when James Comey went before Congress, he admitted, that's right, your presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, flat out lied to you.
Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true. There were a small number of portion markings on, I think, 3 of the documents.
Secretary Clinton said, I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Secretary Clinton said she used just one device. Was that true?
She used multiple devices during the 4 years of her term as Secretary of State.
Secretary Clinton said all work-related emails were returned to the State Department. Was that true?
No, we found work-related emails, thousands, that were not returned.
Secretary Clinton said her lawyers read every one of the emails and were overly inclusive. Did her lawyers read the email content individually?
No.
Just some perspective as you listen to the lies that Comey said she told you. Just the mishandling and destruction of classified information. They're both crimes. So what happened today? Was James Comey, was he pressured by President Obama's Department of Justice to reach a certain conclusion? Do they have something on James Comey? Now, reports have said that the DOJ has been stonewalling the FBI investigations into the Clintons. Or is it because Bill Clinton worked out some sort of deal with Loretta Lynch when they met on a private plane for over 30 minutes just before they announced their decision? Or is it because President Obama? He's directly tied to Clinton's private server. Now, keep in mind, the president lied also when he claimed he first learned about the server from news reports. But, of course, WikiLeaks debunked that lie, and they showed that he knew that Clinton was using a private server because he was sending her emails on that server. Regardless of whatever it may be, the conclusion is, of course, clear. Comey's protecting Clinton, and just like the abusively biased liberal mainstream media that we learned through WikiLeaks is protecting the Clintons by not covering this, today we learned that John Podesta thought top Clinton aide Cheryl Mills was against Clinton's running. Why? Because of her server scandal, the whole server scandal in total. Now, our own staff repeatedly said the server was a political disaster. We also discovered from a leaked email that Chelsea Clinton was apparently using money from the family foundation for all sorts of things not related to charity. Take a look at what Clinton aide Doug Mann wrote to John Podesta. Quote, the investigation into her getting paid for campaigning using foundation resources for her wedding and a life for a decade, taxes on money from her parents. Mann also detailed what he calls Bill Clinton, Inc., an elaborate scheme directly tied to the foundation that the former president used. Why? To enrich himself to the tune of $116 million. And, of course, WikiLeaks also exposed how the so-called objective mainstream media, they're completely in the tank for Hillary Clinton. WikiLeaks uncovered that the Department of Justice, the State Department, and, of course, the White House colluded with the Clinton campaign over this scandal. We're also learning that the Clinton campaign had an agreement with Bernie Sanders, who apparently claimed to have leverage over the senator. Take a look at this email from WikiLeaks about Sanders. Quote, this isn't in keeping with the agreement, since we clearly have some leverage. It would be good to flag this for him. And in a newly released email, CNBC's John Harwood, he was seeking advice from John Podesta about what questions he ought to be asking Jeb Bush. There are countless emails that show reporters asking the campaign to approve and publish their stories. And, of course, CNN, they had people feeding the questions for debates right to Hillary Clinton. But you got dozens of so-called journalists from all the major outlets except the Fox News channel. They were all invited to eat dinner at Clinton campaign chairman's house, John Podesta. I didn't get the invitation. Now, I said back in 2008 that in America, journalism is dead, but it's far worse than I thought or anyone could have imagined. There's also an AP report that 55% of non-government people who met with then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton while she was in office either gave money or pledged money to the Clinton Foundation. And we can't forget about the tens of millions of dollars the Clinton Foundation has gladly accepted from countries that treat women, gays and lesbians, Christians and Jews horribly. Let's start with Saudi Arabia there. Anyway, here with reaction, the author of the best-selling book Treason, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, your reaction to James Comey today and what he has ignored up to this point. And we don't hear a word about pay-to-play or the Clinton Foundation or any of these things. So is the voters supposed to go into the ballot box blind?
Look, corruption, once it gets settled in, is like a cancer. It just keeps growing and spreading. So you have the Attorney General meeting, as you pointed out, with the former president in a very private meeting on an airplane in a very suspicious way. The very week that they're going to interview his wife, the interview itself is very weird, done in a way that very few FBI interviews are done. Then you have Comey coming out and saying, well, there's really nothing here. A firestorm blows up. FBI agents all over the place are enraged. It's quite clear that the political part of the Justice Department is sitting on the investigative arm of the FBI. Comey then, for whatever reason, decided that the discovery of 650,000 emails required him to reopen the case, which he had closed, by the way, And this doesn't count secondary cases that are out there that are ongoing already. But what's strange, I mean, yeah, I don't know what's going on in Comey's head, to be honest. It's weird. Nobody believes that the federal government is capable of taking 650,000 emails and reviewing them in 8 days. I mean, look how long it's taken them to review stuff over the last year and a half or 2 years. Yet suddenly, just to fit the Sunday before the election, they rush to judgment again. By the way, on a day when the New York Post is reporting that Hillary Clinton was using her maid to print out classified documents, which in itself is a violation. On a day when we're learning that Chelsea Clinton and her husband were apparently inappropriately using the Clinton Foundation resources, and that's Doug Band who's writing that. That's Clinton's guy who's writing that. I mean, this isn't stuff outsiders are making up. So you have all of these additional pieces of corruption, pieces of dishonesty, pieces of violating the law. And in that setting, Comey decides that 2 days before the election, he should announce what? I mean, that there's nothing in the 650,000 emails? Well, I have a simple test for him. If there's nothing there, release them in the morning. I mean, if there's nothing there, why can't the American people see all of this nothing? Why do we have to rely on the totally flawed judgment of an FBI director who I think, sadly, and I say this sadly, is going to go down in history as the man who broke the prestige of the FBI.
Here, think about how profound this is on so many different levels, Mr. Speaker. She erased 33,000 emails. She made the decision to erase them. They wanted nobody to see them so bad. They didn't wipe them with a cloth. They acid washed it with bleach bit and got rid of it so nobody could recover it. Then we know specifically things were done. Again, these were under subpoena. Then we know it was on an unclassified, it was on an unprotected server. Now we're told a 99% chance 5 foreign intelligence agencies, hacked into this. I would assume Russia, probably the Iranians, probably the Chinese. The Romanians seem to be able to hack into things. Did anybody feed it to ISIS? Who else might have access to these emails? But isn't all of this obstruction and then the multiple lies to the American people? Here we are 2 days before Election Day. Can she win being a congenital, pathological liar? She can win.
Well, I mean, you have most of the elite media desperately trying to prop her up, desperately trying to overstate what Comey said today, desperately hoping they can shove her over the finish line. You have clearly she's in trouble in Michigan. That's why they're going back there. She's in trouble in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania. They're underperforming in North Carolina. They're underperforming in Florida. As you know, Nevada may be one of their bright spots. We don't know yet.
But Colorado seems to be moving towards
powerful.
Trump, right? From what I'm seeing in Colorado.
I was just in Colorado Thursday. It's clearly moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Colorado's moving towards Trump. I think, by the way, I'm talking to you from Wisconsin, and I've been talking with people in Wisconsin and Minnesota. They're both moving. I now think Ron Johnson is going to get reelected, maybe by a significant margin, and I think he may actually help Trump carry Wisconsin. And you'll notice that today Paul Ryan was very explicit in condemning the whole Hillary Clinton mess, and in specifically calling 4 votes for Donald Trump and saying everybody should vote for Donald Trump. So there's some coming together here. Between which matters
nice
a lot
of them to join the party
in Wisconsin.
All right, but that's a different story for November 9th. I agree. I saw his statement, and I agree. All right, I want to go over the path for Donald Trump to 270. More with Newt Gingrich right after the break, and we are also awaiting Donald Trump. He has a rally in Pennsylvania tonight. We'll bring that to you when he takes the stage. Kellyanne Conway, Rudy Giuliani will be here, and much more of the special Sunday edition tonight of Hannity. All right, Donald Trump, as you can see, about to take the stage at a rally in Pennsylvania, which is now apparently in play. And back with us, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Let's go to 270. Let's say he gets every state that Mitt Romney won. And then let's say he picks up Iowa, holds North Carolina, gets Ohio, gets Florida, maybe picks off Nevada. If he can't, some reports out there, some well-known pollster there says there's no chance. All right, but Colorado may be in play. And then if he gets New Hampshire and Maine's 2nd congressional district, well, if he got Colorado, that's 3 more electoral votes than Nevada, he'd get to 270. And Michigan and Pennsylvania, do you really believe they're in play? Do you really believe potentially Minnesota's in play?
I believe potentially Minnesota, where Trump beat Hillary in a statewide high school poll that involved over 77,000 students, and where he was running up crushing margins in rural Minnesota and northern Minnesota. Close and I were driving across Wisconsin today with her mother, and I can tell you that in rural Wisconsin, we're seeing 30 or 40 Trump-Pence signs and Ron Johnson signs for every single Hillary Clinton sign. I think we only saw 3 Hillary Clinton signs in a 2-hour drive in rural Wisconsin. So part of this is going to be a question of do the cities turn out? If, in fact, they cannot get African Americans in Milwaukee or in Minneapolis or in Florida to turn out in the Barack Obama size numbers, then I think Hillary has an enormous problem on Tuesday. But I want to make one side note for a second that's really important to recognize here. For all the people who are never Trump and all the people who spent all year yelling at you and me and what a disaster Trump's going to be, everybody now agrees he's going to get more electoral votes than Mitt Romney, period. I mean, even if he doesn't quite get there, he's going to be bigger and stronger and get more votes than Mitt Romney, period. So he's already an enormous force in American politics. I believe the momentum is with him. I believe it's with him in Michigan. I think that Pennsylvania is very tough, frankly, because the Democrats will steal Philadelphia. If they could get an honest count in Philadelphia, I think that Trump will win. I think that he's going to win North Carolina. I think he's going to win
Iowa.
Clearly, he's going to win Iowa.
Ohio.
And by the way, this is again one of those great ironies. Everybody sort of sloughs off the fact that he's carrying Ohio. Ohio was at one time the swing state. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, it's for Trump, so it can't be the swing state, because if it was the swing state and it was for Trump, that would mean he's winning. I'd also point out to you that. Go ahead.
You know, I don't want to interrupt you because I got yelled at last week for doing that. But in all seriousness, starting November 9th, win, lose, or draw, we're going to have a narrative about how corrupt this news media industry is. Disgustingly corrupt. And the role that they play in protect. I can't even watch these stupid Sunday shows anymore, or any other cable network, or read any major newspaper, because we now know they're in the tank for Hillary Inc.
Yes.
All right, Donald.
Well, and for left-wing corruption in general. Beyond that. But let me just carry you one step further and how this is evolving in the next 48 hours. One of the most accurate indicators is what happens to the stock market in the last 90 days. In the last 90 days, we have had the second worst decline in the 90 days before an election, and since World War II. Well, the only 2008 is comparable. That particular indicator, 87% of the time, tells you whether the incumbent party or the challenging party is going to win. It is sending a huge signal that Donald Trump is going to win, because people are looking around saying, wait a second, this economy isn't good enough, and she's going to be worse than Obama for the economy. So there are a lot of indicators out there coming together, I think, that mean I'm not just for being on TV and all that stuff and being a cheerleader. I'm personally very optimistic. I think the odds are at least 2 out of 3 that Trump's going to win, and I think this is going to be one of the most exciting election nights of my lifetime.
All right, Mr. Speaker, I was there with you in '94. That was one of the most exciting of my lifetime, too. Good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Donald Trump's been crisscrossing the nation all weekend long. He'll be on the trail tomorrow. He's tonight in Pennsylvania. When we come back, we'll go back to the speech. We'll also get reaction from Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway. We'll look at the electoral map. We'll also check in with Mayor Giuliani about James Comey and more on the special Sunday edition of Hannity. Straight ahead.
When we win on November 8th, we are going to drain the swamp. Going out and voting, it's your last chance. It's your last chance to make our country truly, truly, truly great again. We have such potential. My contract with the American voter begins with a plan to end government corruption and to take back our country from the special interests. when we win on November 8th, we are going to drain the swamp.
All right, Donald Trump earlier today, of course, promising to drain the swamp of Washington if elected on Tuesday. How can Donald Trump get to the magic number of 270? All right, let's start right here. Let's look at the board. All right, let's start with 2012. These are all the red states that Mitt Romney won. Okay, let's just, for the sake of argument, assume we'll go to 2016, hold all of those states at Mitt Romney. Let's go what if. Okay, I don't think he was just in Iowa. Let's go to Iowa. We'll add, you can look over the left side. Let's add Iowa. Polls show that Donald Trump's doing really well there. Okay, the all-important swing state of Ohio, 18 electoral votes. Let's put that in Donald Trump's column. As you can see, doing well. Now, Georgia. He can't win without Georgia. He's got to have Georgia. Let's go there. We'll give him the 16. Polls show he's up there. Now, North Carolina, little tougher, but I'm saying Donald Trump's going to get the 15 electoral votes in North Carolina. Now we get to a harder. We're at 219 to 201 for Hillary Clinton. All right, very important states left here on the map. Let's go to this state. I don't think Donald Trump can be the president without the state of Florida. Put that in his column. He's up to 248, getting closer to 270. How does he get to 270? A lot of different ways. One of the ways is, okay, this is Nevada. We'll put it right there. That's in Donald Trump's column. Now he's at 254. Arizona, 265. Two ways now to get to 270. Add New Hampshire, add Congressional District 1, 269. Now, if he doesn't get Congressional District 2, rather, in Maine, he's at 269, and Clinton potentially could be at 269. What happens then? Congress decides. All right, now, what if Donald Trump wins the great state of Colorado? Okay, but let's say, on the other side, he loses Nevada where the polls are really close. He's still at 272. Colorado shows that the polls have tightened. Even some polls have Donald Trump up. So that would be an important state. I don't think, if you look at this map, now you've got other possibilities here. Is he going to win Virginia? The hard state for any Republican to win. Is he going to win Pennsylvania? It's a game changer. Donald Trump wins the state of Pennsylvania, it's game over, especially if he gets Florida. Now, let's just say for a second, he loses Florida. Florida's tough. Now he's down to 243. Okay, now he's in a must-win situation. Pennsylvania, that gets him to 263. All right. This would get him to 269, and then the one congressional district. So Nevada would get him there. We can hit that button there somewhere. Okay. Well, I guess because it went blue, it doesn't want to go back. I don't know. But obviously, that would get him to 269. Or, of course, you've got up here. You've got Minnesota, you've got Wisconsin, and you've got Michigan. 16 electoral votes, that would put him over the top. Bottom line is, you've got Florida's tight, you've got Pennsylvania's tight, you got North Carolina. I think that's going Trump. Ohio's going Trump. I think Iowa's going Trump. Nevada is up for grabs. Colorado is up for grabs. I think Michigan is up for grabs, and it's really up to you at this point. What's going to happen on Election Day? New Hampshire's another tough state. All right, here with reaction. Trump campaign. Do you like how I did that?
It's really
I had to do
impressive.
that and walk over here.
I think you have a future in polling, Shawn. It's great. Yeah,
well, that's your
definitely.
business. How are you feeling?
I feel great. And what you just showed demonstrates we probably have about at least 6 routes to 270. That's not always been the case. But momentum, enthusiasm, they sound like intangibles. They're actually very empirically proven, very tangible. You see these crowds. You see people in all these states, including states like New Mexico, Minnesota, thought to be out of reach for a Republican candidate, Shawn. And yet he shows up there and the crowds just pour in. In Minnesota today, people were abandoning their cars a mile away from the venue.
Wow.
We posted, we made the event live. And 18 hours later, we had 21,000 RSVPs for an airplane hangar that holds about 4,500 comfortably.
I heard there were more people outside than inside.
That's usually
like 3
the case.
times the amount of people.
We like to say for somebody who doesn't play an instrument or a sport, Donald Trump can really pack him in. But it's a serious point when you're going through the map and you are even talking credibly and plausibly about states like Pennsylvania and Michigan and Colorado and New Hampshire. These are states that President Obama carried twice with well over 50% of the vote. Hillary Clinton is nowhere near there. We've been talking for months on this show and elsewhere about her being the 46% gal. She just can never really bust through that ceiling.
That has been your argument for a long time.
Really, Shawn, what's going to convince these undecided voters between now and Tuesday that, you know what, it's okay. I know she lies for a living. I know she's corrupt. I don't much like her. I don't want more of the same. I'm a change maker. I want to drain the swamp, but I think I'll vote for Hillary Clinton. It's all incongruous, and I have faith in the American people, their wisdom, their discernment, and their real appetite state to go in a new and different direction.
I think the best path for Donald Trump, I think he will get Iowa. I think he will. Look, I believe in polls. Nate Silver once tweeted, Hannity doesn't believe in polls. He cited an online poll. No, I believe in numbers.
Nate Silver said today that Hillary Clinton is one state away from losing the electoral map. That's a huge
correct.
turn of events from somebody who 2 weeks ago said the race is practically over.
I do think, look at Matt Bevin just in 2014. It was a 12-point swing. Look at what happened in Brexit. I've given at least 15 examples where the polls can be way off. I don't know if they are or not. They're the numbers that we have. You're the pollster. But if we're going by polls, he will win Iowa. He will win Ohio. If we're going by polls, I think he will win North Carolina. Very tight as always in Florida.
Always.
It's Florida. Where are you?
I mean, in Florida, look, in 2000, George W. Bush, as we all know, was separated by 527 votes in Florida with Al Gore. And George W. Bush's brother was the governor of Florida. George W. Bush had been the nominee for 2.5 years. The field had been cleared. He had all Republicans for him, all the establishment, the infrastructure. We don't have that everywhere we go.
How do you feel about the early vote in Florida this time?
We're feeling better. We get these daily reports, and I was going over the numbers today. Actually, we had a press call about it.
What is it, plus 100,000, right?
Exactly. So we feel good as to compared to where the Republican nominee was in 2012.
And plus over 100,000 in North Carolina.
Correct. Absolutely. And North Carolina is always a day of vote for Republicans. Governor Romney carried the state in 2012, but he was trailing badly in the early vote.
Right.
And as was Tom Tillis, the Senate candidate in 2014, who defeated incumbent Kay Hagan in North Carolina. So we know that's a day of vote.
What do you think, either Colorado or Nevada? We hear in Nevada there was a very heavy Hispanic turnout in early voting.
Yes, so Nevada is a place where we need a very strong day of turnout, more than in other places. But we feel really good about our infrastructure there and the fact that we've beefed up our field team to plan for this after we saw some of the early returns last week. Colorado's really been tightening, and it's a place where Hillary Clinton's team felt they had to go back to Colorado. I like the way you swap them out on your board, because for a while our major path included Nevada and not Colorado, but we've had the luxury of late to swap them out. And the fact that we're talking about Michigan, the fact that you're talking in a serious way about Pennsylvania.
But is it Pennsylvania is always from a presidential standpoint in my adult life, and that no, not going to happen. Is it different this time?
It's different because the candidate is different. The message is about renegotiating bad trade deals, about protecting coal miners and steel workers.
Pennsylvania's been hurt so bad. And by the way,
just
fracking for Pennsylvania is huge. But I do always worry about what really goes on in Pennsylvania.
The Obamacare premiums are through the roof. Yeah. Well, Philly's about 11% of the vote, and then the surrounding suburbs are about another 23%. So you're talking about a third of the state. We've seen some improved numbers among women in those suburbs around the collar counties.
Which would be more likely from your perspective, Pennsylvania or Michigan?
We're going for both. We're actually competing very heavily in both. We're putting our two major assets, Governor Pence and Mr. Trump, in both states.
What do you put the odds at, Donald? What do you put the odds on Tuesday night? Our audience here is Fox News projects that Donald J. Trump will be the 45th president of the United States. What are the odds?
The odds are about 54% at this point. We've got them on the run. They rejiggered their whole schedule based on what we did.
54% ought to scare everybody. That means there's a 46% chance she could win. The biggest liar, most corrupt person on earth.
It was actually this morning. I was having a conversation with Mr. Trump, and he said something about Brexit. And I said, no, you keep talking about Brexit. This is the Trump effect. There's a big difference. You keep on crediting these other movements. And this is actually the Trump effect, because Brexit isn't filling up these hangars and getting people all excited. And the other thing we're seeing in early voting.
I hear the food is like really top-notch. KFC, McDonald's.
Oh, my God.
There's no beer on the plane. There's no beer on the Trump plane. What's up with that?
No wonder we haven't seen you there.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we know. But seriously speaking, the Trump effect, I've been talking about the undercover Trump voter for months, but people say it's shy, it's hidden, they don't want to admit. They're misunderstanding what I mean. Undercover are all these people who say to themselves, I have an excuse to vote against her, I need a reason to vote for him. They have the reason now. They like the 100-day plan, they like the repealing, replacing Obamacare, they love defeating radical Islam.
I like what he offered, a new deal for Black America.
Yeah, it's all of that, but really, Shawn, in the end, are people going to cast a vote for somebody who's never done this before? That's really the undercover Trump vote. And are people going to go against their own either partisan predilections or their past voting behavior? And you see a lot of that. I mean, when Hillary Clinton promised to put the coal industry out of work, that message, it was supposed to be about West Virginia, but it traveled across to Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Now, I've got to also credit our running mate, Governor Pence. He's the governor of Indiana. He helps a great deal with the upper Midwest states where we're now competitive.
All right, it's going to be a busy night.
See you on
Great to
Victory
see you.
Night. Thank
All right.
you.
And coming up, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani responds to the news today about James Comey. Also, Sheriff David Clark, Judge Jeanine Pirro, all here on the special edition of Hannity. It's a great job.
Now it's up to the American people to deliver justice at the ballot box on November 8th. Hillary Clinton is guilty. She knows it. The FBI knows it. The people know it. And now it's up to the American people to deliver justice at the ballot box on November 8th. Unbelievable what she gets away with.
Donald Trump earlier tonight in Michigan attacking Hillary Clinton over this corrupt email server scandal. Here with reaction, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Giuliani, Mr. Mayor, I want your reaction. Can anybody understand James Comey? Because mishandling classified information is a crime. He admitted she lied repeatedly. Having your maid print out classified information, isn't that a crime?
Well, of course it is, Sean. You know, way back in July when we discussed it, I thought Jim Comey reached by far the wrong decision. There was overwhelming evidence that she violated the law. Now, since then, we have this additional evidence that she was giving classified material to her maid who was printing it out for her. And the way it's described in the WikiLeaks email, it was done routinely. Routinely. So if she was completely reckless back in July, this addition of her maid handling classified top secret material routinely makes her beyond recklessly careless. It puts her in the category of intentional crime. Also today, two other major revelations took place that have been buried. Apparently, according to Doug Band, money was used from the Clinton Foundation to pay for the Chelsea Clinton wedding and to pay for a decade of life for them. And then there was a cautionary email sent saying that Chelsea better stop talking about this. And beyond that, there's another email that points out that Chelsea's husband, with Chelsea's help, was going to foundation donors and raising money for his hedge fund. My goodness, I prosecuted major Wall Street stock fraud cases. What does the average American
to think when the FBI
as racketeering cases? I never had evidence like this.
In other words,
I would have won the cases in 2 weeks instead of 6 if I had evidence.
So
like
we
this.
have a two-tier justice system. We have or is the FBI saying it's okay to use BleachBit now to delete subpoenaed emails? Is that not? What if I do that? What if you do that?
Or to allow maids to send out classified information who do not have top security clearances. There is a sailor who is sitting in prison because he took 2 or 3 pictures on a submarine.
Christian Saucier is his name.
We're supposed to be a country of justice. Look, using foundation money for their daughter's wedding when they are multimillionaires says to me, once a crook, always a crook. They go back to Arkansas where they were small crooks.
Why hasn't Comey well, first of all, we have other FBI agents saying that 5 foreign intelligence agencies, 99% certainty, they've got everything. So she did corrupt our emails. She put it on a server that wasn't secure in the closet of a bathroom of a mom and pop shop. It was hacked into. 5 foreign intelligence agencies get it. Why doesn't he say anything about the Clinton Foundation? Why won't he even acknowledge an investigation's ongoing?
And did they interview Marina Santos, the maid?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, they never interviewed her. That would be incompetence. That would be breach of any kind of protocol you would have in the FBI. According to these emails, she routinely was using classified information and sending it along to Hillary Clinton. That is a direct violation of at least 4 federal statutes that you and I started talking about a year ago. I never knew the evidence was as strong as this. And then if you think about the fact, there are a lot of people out there who spend a lot of money on their daughter's wedding, and it comes out of their pocket, and it's hard-earned cash. And these people who are multimillionaires were taking money out of the Clinton Foundation that supposedly is supposed to help poor people, and they were paying for their daughter's wedding and for a decade of her life. Come on. Are they crooks?
Who's going to win, Mr. Mayor? We got to roll.
And they have been since Arkansas, and the liberal press has allowed them to get away with it. And I don't think the American people are going to want to have the Clinton Inc. massive criminal conspiracy
Are
in
you
the White
confident
House.
Donald Trump wins on Tuesday night?
I am confident in the wisdom of the American people in wanting to have a man who wants to drain the swamp in Washington,
I love
wants
that
to
phrase.
clean this out, and wants to make rules that would prohibit all of this.
All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you for being with us as always. We appreciate
Thank you.
it. Coming up, Donald Trump campaigning today in 5 different states. Coming up next, Sheriff David Clark, Judge Jeanine Pirro. They're here with their reaction and Tuesday predictions on this special edition of Hannity. And welcome back to Hannity. So only 2 days to go. Donald Trump campaigning today in 5 different states. He's headed to Virginia right now, and he has one more stop even tonight. Joining us with reaction, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Sheriff, where do you see it now?
I still see the wind at Donald Trump's back. Look, I've been in 7 different cities in 5 different states over the last 3 or 4 days on behalf of Donald Trump, and I'm seeing a very energized and motivated electorate. They can't wait. Many of them have already taken advantage of early voting, but they can't wait, those that haven't, to cast their ballot for Donald Trump. All Donald Trump has to do right now is close the deal with the American people. They want to vote for him. Look, I haven't seen somebody work this hard for president in the last 25 to 30 years. He's out hustling Mrs. Bill Clinton right now, and I still believe that he's going to be the 45th president of the United States based on the energy and the motivation of his electorate, and that's what you need at election time.
What do you feel, Judge?
You know, I think that Donald Trump has hit at issues that politicians haven't talked about, whether it's immigration, the refugees. People believe that he can deliver jobs. And I think that as long as Donald stays on message for the next 48 hours, I think that people understand.
You mean not go on Twitter in the next 48 hours?
Yeah, as long as they take that BlackBerry or that iPhone away from him. Look, I agree with Sheriff Clark. I think that Donald Trump has hit a note with the American public all over this country.
What do you make of what happened today with James Comey?
You know what? I don't think people care about that anymore. I think people think Washington is corrupt. They've had it with Washington. He says yes, he says no, he says maybe, he says reckless, he says there's prima facie case, maybe there isn't, maybe there. Nobody cares anymore. Everyone has made up their mind.
We do know she's a liar. We know she's corrupt, and she knows she's self-enriching.
You know what we know even more than that?
We know she broke the law.
A pervert has our classified information on his laptop, and who else has it? We don't know. But I don't have time for that. I do have time
5 foreign national intelligence agencies hacked that email, 99%.
Well, there's no question about that, but let me ask you this. If WikiLeaks...
Go on, you take over the show. Welcome to Justice with Judge Jeanine. You go ahead, take over.
But if WikiLeaks...
I'm a potted plant here. Why do I ask your own question and answer it?
I'll be quiet now.
No, I'm kidding.
You want to know? Okay, if WikiLeaks can get all of the White House, everybody, all of the senators, Secretary of State, you know that WikiLeaks has our classified information too.
And so do the Russians, and so do the Iranians, and so do the Chinese. You know, I know you work in the rule of law, Sheriff, and it's clear what she did, having a server mishandled, deleting, obstructing, all of this is a crime. Would I not be in jail today? Would Judge Jeanine not be in jail today?
Yeah.
Would you, Sheriff, not be in jail today? We don't have a system of law any longer. Our justice system is now falling apart. I have no faith, none, in our Department of Justice, and I'm sorry to say, no faith in James Comey. None. And I have faith in the FBI. I have faith in the rank and file. Rank and file told us the truth. Something is going on that we won't find out about for a long time.
Well, not only would we be in jail, Shawn, we'd be under the jail. But look, James Comey has turned the FBI into a modern-day version of Keystone Cops. He has tarnished the reputation of that organization. He should resign immediately over the bungling of this case. And if he does not resign, and when Donald Trump becomes president, I think Mr. Trump should add that to his first 100 days, is to fire James Comey so that the FBI can regain their image.
There's enough we know that Hillary did to indict her. True or false?
True. Oh, true, without a doubt. Overwhelming evidence that a prosecutor, any competent prosecutor, could take this case to trial and win with.
You could indict her and you could convict her.
Final predictions. Who's going to win the election, Judge?
Donald Trump.
Who's going to win, Sheriff?
Donald Trump.
What are the odds, Judge?
A little more than 50.
What are the odds, Sheriff?
A little more than 50-50.
All right. This is the first time in my adult life I don't have a feel.
You don't?
I don't have a pulse. It's weird. It's different than any other election. All right, guys.
Cautiously
I'm hopeful. I
optimistic,
agree,
Sean.
50-50.
I really am.